Ah yes, greetings. So, Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, Mr. Benjamin, posed a very interesting question on this most ridiculous of articles, why white supremacists are not always white. With retarded headlines like these, are we in any way surprised people are dysfunctional and really stupid? If you are, you shouldn't be, but anyway, in a previous video I did say the truth about affirmative action. I said affirmative action's main point is not even political, it's not to give anyone a leg up. No, it's merely this mask designed to mitigate any and all conversations about the nakedly observable realities of genetic and cultural superiority. A phrase that makes people very nervous and think I wear swanky Hugo Boss uniforms. Ah, yes, they had good architecture, I suppose. But anyway, Carl's question, if white supremacy, and no, I can't pronounce it any other way, it's funny, does not require people to be white, what is the problem with it? If it can be diverse and inclusive, why should people oppose it? An astute observation, good sir. What happens when the white supremacy includes more brown people than white, and anti-racism includes more white than brown? Excellent question, so let's unpack it. In case you people have been asleep at the wheel for a while now, if so, this video might induce some brain damage, the Western world is in a suicidal death spiral of its own making. The powers that be have been trying to subvert the foundational units of society for a very long time now, well over a century in fact. Thank you for playing your part, easily tempted and gullible women, you ruin everything. But anyway, the changes that are taking place presently are not exactly a welcomed addition, to say the least. They are very destructive indeed, and in prior decades they could be cleverly disguised as a battle against a certain power structure. War, men, oppression, all kinds of powers that could be made to appear bad to the uninitiated and stupid. Utopian dipshits that think anything that pops out of their arsehole must smell like roses instead of shit. I've mentioned this in the past as well, the slow incremental change that can and has done tremendous damage, but we can never discuss them because all change is good, and to say otherwise makes you insert snappy conversation killing slogan of the day. The problem for the left is this. They are unthinking, psychotically destructive bastards that want to change every facet of reality, but also remain somewhat hidden and make the change seem organic. The problem is, of course, they get discovered. Surprise, not exactly a shocker that one, hiding is not their forte. Hard to do with the internet and also trying to remake a society where victimhood is the currency, and in the current time the best way to garner attention is to appear insane and or stupid, and frankly, half the time, I can't really tell which ratio is the dominating one. Frankly, their plans seem so poorly thought out, you just want to point out and laugh at them. Shame they want to take everything down with them when they're hanging from the Sorry, that joke went kind of dark. But anyway, yes, they have to constantly disguise and pervert language. Why? Because they are subversive, sneaky little bastards who operate behind the shadows. They run the banks, academia, Hollywood. Do not make me get the uniform. There's a great quote from the guy who runs Tick History. Marxists share your vocabulary, but they don't share your dictionary. Might be one of my favorite quotes of all time, that one. Which brings us to the stupidity of the phrase white supremacy. And by the way, has anybody else noticed they're trying to promote everything that's non-white and gay, and that always sucks? If I was a cynic, I would almost say that's by design, to instill into you this feeling of supremacy because everything around you that's promoted in the name of diversity is utterly incompetent, and everything that's white and male and not cringe and gay is rightly going to be assumed to be superior because it is. In case it isn't blindingly obvious at this point, white supremacy has nothing to do with whiteness, whatever the fuck that means. Western civilization is predominantly one of a European heritage majority, hence why it's called white supremacy. It's just to guilt trip the majority into thinking they have to apologize because their ancestors were conquering badasses and everyone else sucked. If that offends you, I don't give a fuck. Now, to get back to the subversive element, using political speak, the opposite of supremacy is not inferiority, but rather equality. And suddenly it starts to make a hell of a lot more sense now, doesn't it? It was never about the white part. That's emotional branding, no more, no less. Don't kid yourselves. It's all because a nation that acknowledges supremacy of any kind is not one that is preoccupied with the Orwellian cancer known as equality. Any nation that aspires to God, glory, and greatness is one that condemns any insipid notions of equality to the despairing pits of hell where it belongs. And once again, I apologize for nothing.